All right, it says we're live. Hey, everybody, welcome to a very special afternoon of. You remember the after school special, the very special episodes and the after school special? This is our Friday night because we don't have a life, and but actually, it is our anniversary of our first broadcast as Old Gray Bricks, and our fourth Old Gray Brick of the originals is on his way. I believe he is dealing with some European building technology that's made by the Swedes, not the Danes, and putting a bed together for small Paul. So, yes, there's only three of us, Brom. The fourth will be joining us momentarily. That way we'll have as many viewers as we do guests on the show.
I heard he was taken hostage by a mad Martian.
Do you know the name of the space modulator that he has? Can you name it?
No, it's been a really long time since
That's a great trivia question, though.
You know, the Illudium Pew 36 is supposed to space modulator? Come on!
I don't remember.
I remember hearing that, but I would not have been able to dredge that out of the volumes of useless knowledge that I do contain.
You mean you can't quote Daffy Duck as Robin Hood going ho ha ha, guard turn, parry, dodge, spin, ha thrust. That is, you got to know.
I can tell you how New York State voted in every presidential election, but I cannot tell you that. I have the truly useful information in my head. So
that's debatable there, but yes, I would say out of all of us, you probably do have the most useful information that you can rattle off.
That's right. You can get Lego employees information about their European vacations when they decide to go on them. And
I can give them advice of where to travel in their own country. So that's what I got going.
I still think you do need to do your own show of fun with maps, but
Well, there's actually a YouTuber that I actually really like, and he has a channel called Geography King, and he's a Californian by birth, but he moved to Chattahooga, and he just does here are some great road trips, and he'll talk about where to go, and he ranked his top 10 favorite mid-sized American cities. I kind of feel like he's already doing the channel I would do if I tried that. And I'm a big fan. I watch his videos all the time when I'm just eating lunch or something. I'll put something on from him, and he's entertaining.
Yeah,
Brickenazer is concerned that we have not converted you to a space builder by now.
Well, but the thing is that Matthew is a space fan.
I began as a space. Okay, do I need to get out my Galaxy Explorer from the closet over here? Put it.
Yes, you do. And
no punning.
Bring it to my house. That would be great. Let's see. We do have folks here. Thank you, Brickenazer, for being here. Brom is here. Gary Mullane from Ireland. Speaking of European vacations, I would love to go to Ireland. Let's see. Andrew Sada is here. So we decided instead of last night and making it part of our show, we just kind of decided to impromptu pop on the air and celebrate our 1 year anniversary. Neil is here. Hey, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. And I actually went and watched a part of our first broadcast. I could not stand myself, so I had to turn it off. But here is a picture from that ill-fated first broadcast. There we are. Look at there. So, wait. We have to recreate this. Let's see. Can we do this? Oh, we have to wait for Mark, I guess.
Yeah, we got to wait for Mark.
But I need to wait. I still don't know which arm is.
Hey, this was back when I didn't care whether the cat box was showing on the camera or not.
There you go. There, I got my pose down. That's good. You were a little more top down in those days.
You know what? It's because I think I was originally just using the camera that was in my display, which gives a much wider view, and then I switched to a Logitech camera, which gives a more little focus view.
Well, look how empty those glass shelves are behind you in those days.
Well, you know what it was is that you can't see because everything's just sitting on the shelf. And so eventually I reached the point in time where I started putting things on legs so I could have minifigures down below and then the ships up above. So
makes sense.
But you are correct. It looks a little bare there, but now it's a little different.
Yeah. And Matt had the corner so I could see the Millennium Falcon crashing into the buildings there. I missed that. Oh, there he is.
Still there. There's the building.
There it is. What's going on, man?
I just had to finish a home project. Paul got a a new headboard for his room, and it's one of those like IKEA kind of things with all the little screws and pegs and crap and things. And
So not as fun as building Lego sets.
So did you get the Yon Ham?
no, it's
Did you get the Juventus Betis?
it's
Hey, you keep that language to yourself. I'm just.
I wish I knew the quotes from Deadpool to spit back at you, but props for doing a Deadpool reference. That's all that matters.
yeah. So
I don't.
of course,
I
when you're doing a project like that, the last 10% takes 90% of the effort. So
I was gonna say, are you sweating?
a little bit, yeah.
Well, the last 10% is where you figure out that you put that one part on the wrong way, and you have to take everything back off.
I did do that at one point. Yes.
Yes, it was a full build.
Because it's a bunch of rectangular pieces that all look identical.
It turns out that one hole on that one side needed to be positioned the other direction.
Exactly.
So I had a Lego moment like that today, because on a portion of time today where I was on conference calls, I decided to go ahead and build bag. I think it was build bag 3, which is these long sections along the edge of the Star Destroyer here. And I thought it was kind of cool because we're normally, you're going to have to build it twice. And I was like, well, that's kind of weird because the other side, it'll be upside down. But it kind of works because it's all greebling and so it still works. And so you basically built 2 instead of them having to make the instructions twice. At least they allowed you to say, hey, let's build these twice at the same time. But I got to the point where I was building all the plates to get to the very, very end before they come back and they start to do all the greebling. And I'm sitting there and I'm putting on the last plate and I'm like, is this off by 1? And I was like, oh, please, what did I do wrong? And so I went back and I spent a good probably 5 minutes agonizing over looking at the instructions. I'm like, no, this lines up, these line up, these line up. And what it wound up being is that there, the rail plates, a plate with a rail on the side of it.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a ton of rail plates on this. And at the very end, you've got 2 of the 1x6 rail plates. And because that little ledge comes out, it distorts the view. So it makes it look like it's 2 more plates out or 1 more stud out than it really is. And I was like, oh, I'm good. I promptly went and got a beer to relax because I was stressing out about having to take the whole thing apart.
So speaking of that, here's the first version, the 2004 version, and the edge of the bottom is a hinge, but then it's held in the center by magnets.
Yeah.
Well, let's just say my magnets didn't line up by like 1 stud, so it kept like falling, and then when it falls open, the weight is too much on the hinges, and then it falls off the structure. So it's extremely aggravating if it doesn't line up, right?
Yeah.
So I get it all put together. I'm like trying to get it on, and like it'll hold for like 3 seconds, and then it goes bump, and this happens like 2 times, and I'm like incensed at this point, and I have to like walk away, take a time out, and like come back. So then I had to sit there and count every stud to figure out why I was 1 stud off. And I do not recommend this. It's not fun. It's not fun. But it now doesn't fall off,
because it's correct.
Right.
Well, that's good.
I will say that I'm glad that we are beyond magnets on this one, and that they're using. I built 1 small section in the back there, and now I'm doing the reverse on this side, and it's all locked into place with ball joints, so it's nice and solid.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing Lego with the ball joint technology, I guess you'd say, upgrade. It's more than just Mixel points. There's a whole lot of construction they employ those with, and that's really good.
Well, the interesting thing is that, where they're using the 1x2 with the joint section to lock into, the pieces that are actually on the plate to hold into those are actually the 2x2s with the long ball joint that you normally would find like on a trailer hitch for like a train or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
So they're actually taking some of the old and some of the new and using them together. So I'm digging it.
And that's part of the genius of a ball joint system is that they made it backwards compatible, and that's super cool.
Yeah.
Super cool. So what have y'all been up to today? I've been arguing with car salesmen. I don't know how about y'all have been, but
Well, since you asked,
yes.
I cleaned the refrigerator. I cleaned off the stovetop. I did a load of laundry. I did dishes. And I put my mail on hold for my upcoming trip. And I started preparing my online class so it'll be ready to go when I leave town. Yeah, that was pretty much. Oh, and I went to the Lego store to buy stuff off the wall, which I am sorting right now, which mostly was sort of ho-hum stuff like, hey, look, it's 2x2 plates with the jumper point. But
what color is that? Is that white or tan?
that's tan.
Tan.
Am I washed out?
A little bit. You could use some professional lighting.
I forgot to wear my blush today.
In a year of us doing this show, I have not got. Actually, I have some lighting panels that are still in the box. Actually, Jake tried one and it's on the floor over here. But yeah, this is all the professional lighting I got. So,
Ooh,
Mark, that's actually how you get a tan, isn't it?
That's how he gets a burn.
No, I will in fact burn from a desk lamp.
I was going to say. I mean, when I say burn, or when I say tan, I mean a burn. But yeah,
There's a reason that Mark's Lego room is in the basement, so he can be down there for hours without getting burnt. So
yeah. I was starting to think because I was watching. We were talking about this Boone's new show. Was it Boontastic or
Bricktorious?
Bricktorious, yes. Which, by the way, it is Bricktorious, and Boone has a Bricktorious song to go with it, which is,
Of course he does.
Which is Bricktorious. He's such a magical guy. But I was looking at, and I was concerned because Boone's setup is all lit, and it's all the white and the whole bright. You feel like he's in a studio. You really do. I mean, I know it's probably his garage or something like that.
It is his garage, yes.
I know. And then he had one of the guys from Beyond the Brick, who Brian Saviano, and he's got that great mic that makes his voice sound fantastic, and he's got all this colorful stuff behind him and all this. And then he had I forget the gal who's out of Seattle or Portland that he knows, and she was on there. And so she's got all these nice cool white shells back there, and they all look like very professional YouTube things. And then Moto in his garage, dank, dark, horrible lighting. I'm like,
his appliances.
Yeah, I'm like, I will never ever concern myself whether you can see the shadows, the reflections anymore, because if Moto's doing that, I can do whatever I want.
That's right. And the best part is when Moto is doing his thing, and all respect for Moto. I think Moto's great. All of a sudden, his Connecticut, and he literally sounds like he's powering down.
Oh no, Moto!
It's amazingly liberating not caring anymore, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, there are pluses and minuses to not caring. You can get jaded and grumpy if you don't care. So it can go both ways. You never know.
Well, I'm thinking of the whole how do you explain your hobby? And I'm like, I just tell them I'm in Lego, and if they have a problem, I don't care.
Yeah, no, that you don't need to worry about. Yeah. We need a good batch of peroxide in this group. That's for sure.
What about faded white bricks?
Faded white.
Yeah. In fact, I broke down an old mock to build the thing I'm building now, and I'm like, yellow brick. Oh, dang it, yellowed. Dang it, yellowed. I've got a bucket started. I need to go on the back porch and start that project. But
have you ever done that before?
I have not.
I actually,
you got to make a redneck spaceship and use all your yellowed brick on it.
Call it the Moonshiner.
Problem solved.
Actually, back in the day, and yes, you can take a drink. But back in the day, Mark, do you remember? I don't know who it was, but some guy built a Millennium Falcon, and he purposely used faded white bricks and marbled that through the mock. And for pre-Star Wars, it was amazing actually, because it had all that junky look from the different colors of the of the white. He painted in the tan too, so he had tons of different shades. It was really, really cool.
I'm trying to remember who that was. He was one of the guys that was on Lugnet, and I actually saw that Millennium Falcon because he brought it to the Brickfest in Portland in 2004. He had it with him, and he showed me all the little features because he had done stuff like put little Technic things in so he could push a thing and the little laser cannon would pop out the bottom, and he could twist it with the Technic thing. And he had put the movie details into this thing, and this was way before any of the UCS Falcons and stuff. So it was really cool. It was probably not as big as the UCS Falcon, but it was pretty good size, and he had really put a lot of love into it.
Yeah,
but he used a lot of discolored bricks and things to get that sort of authentic look. So
it was really, really good. It was mind blowing because it was like not just throwing the yellowing brick out, because by that time we were having it was like, okay, I'm embracing this, throwing it in the mock, and it was amazing. So
actually, where's Brom? I saw him in the chat a minute ago. He probably remembers who it was.
Probably.
Brom is calculating at the moment.
So I
hope Brom doesn't get offended because we all just think he's a super genius. He's Brainiac, but I'm gonna finally tick off that last tick, and the laser comes out of the mountain, and my house just goes up in a cinder. That's it.
Poof! No! You get a land shark that will knock on your door with a laser.
Have we ever had Brom on camera? He's always in the chat.
He's been on once or twice.
Okay, I don't remember.
The thing is that he's on the West Coast, so it's still part of the workday for him.
Yeah, he's working.
So we need to have a late night edition.
Yeah, that's probably why we get him in the chat, because he's like, I'm going to just milk out the rest of my day. What are these guys doing? Look, it's 4 chimps on a couch.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he's doing. We're entertaining him while he runs out the clock on his workday.
Which is, I wish now I feel like I was on the West Coast to take advantage of that same scenario. Maybe I need to start watching like people in the UK and stuff like that. Maybe that's what I need to do so that I can milk out the end of my day watching the show.
When Thomas was worked at Delta, he would write Python code, so it would automate a lot of his data tasks, and he would only work some days like 2 hours, and then he'd be like, yeah, like I'm real busy. I'll get back to you. And then he'll be messaging me and like sending me funny memes in the middle of the day. And I'll be like, do you work today? He goes, no, the computer's crunching all that stuff right now. I'm just sitting here.
Well, the sad thing is that when I used to have to go to an office, pre-banking business, but when I was working in Alpharetta, I mean, there were like 3 of us. We had our own NAS that was filled with TV shows and movies that we would watch during the day. I mean, that's how I kept. I mean, I binged the whole season of Breaking Bad, going through, because there's only so much you can do during the day. I mean, a lot of the stuff we were having to do at night and after hours or on the weekends, and so you had to do stuff to kill time during the day. But now that I work from home, I find that I don't watch as much TV when I'm working and stuff like that. Maybe it's because I have access to Lego that I can do while I'm at home and working, so I don't watch as many TV shows and movies.
Well, I mean, that's the thing I've noticed, especially doing the shows and watching internet stuff and, flipping through the TikToks and the YouTubes and stuff. There's a couple of shows that Mel, wants me to watch with her. And we're cranking through the Blacklist right now, which it's a great show. Spader's awesome in it. It's like, he's not – now I don't hear him sounding like Ultron. Now I hear Ultron sounding like Reddish or whatever in the show.
Right.
But, it's really good. So that's just about it of shows I really regular watch. I have the old man option of watching MASH on Hulu, and that usually puts me to bed at night.
Is that your bedtime ritual? Is that your bedtime ritual, is to watch MASH when you're going to? Because for me, that was high school. It came on at 10 o'clock on Fox W32 in Chicago, and that was the wind down show before I turned off the lights and went to bed. So.
Well, and before all the breakups and all the Hulus and everybody's taking all the shows and doing everything, Sundance and WGN, which we get on Dish Network, which is what we have, would do marathons of MASH. And this is before COVID, but that was the Saturday. If I'd come down here and build or hang out, MASH would just be playing in the background. It is the perfect I mean, I know all the lines. I can quote the episode, so it's the mind-numbing stuff in the background, and that was great. Ooh,
that sounds familiar. Maybe.
See, back in 2005, when I had trouble sleeping because I had neuropathy in my feet, I would watch the episodes of reruns of Northern Exposure that came on at 3 a.m. on some channel, and that was my fall asleep in the middle of the night show. Was Northern Exposure.
Northern Exposure.
Good night, Q.
Good night, Europeans.
Hey, man, Bill Q, good to see you. I'm sorry I didn't see you pop in. That's awesome. Good to see you. Have a good night.
So Organizer asked on the question about the black UV light with the peroxide. It should be just the same as the sunshine. I know that's what a lot of people have done. I know one of the guys over in Alabama, he used the black light. And so it actually caused a little bit of concern because when he was ordering his black light off of Amazon, he was also ordering he also ordered a scale and bags for his Brooklyn store.
Sure.
And and this guy, he is probably more religious than Chris is in a lot of ways. So it came to his attention after he ordered. He's like, I'm wondering if I'm on a list now.
Is that Wesley Higgins? Is that
yes,
who that
it is. Yes, it is. But yeah, the black light does. He used the black light, so I'm sure it does. I've always used the sweet hot Georgia sunshine to do it, but I know the black light works. Is that Harold Ramis?
Nope.
Is that the Yellowed Falcon?
He does look like Harold Ramis, though.
It does look like Harold Ramis.
Who's Harold Ramis?
It'd be cooler if you could turn that.
Brom said in the chat, was it Ben Fleskus? And maybe that was his name. I don't recall.
Well, of course, you can't zoom in on his name badge because it's hidden by the panels.
Ben Fleskus sounds like a made-up name.
I took some photos of the inside. He did pneumatics on the ramp, and he'd put some stuff in there.
Wow.
2004? So Star Wars had been out, I guess.
Yeah, but this was very early, and he'd had this thing built for a while.
But that's a lot of basic brick. Well, look at that stack of plates there. Wow.
That's curbing.
That thing's got to be heavy.
Yeah.
Look at the drive there. Look at the. I remember that the antenna that makes the little veins on the
little veins because there was no little vein pieces to use. That's freaking impressive. Oh, he's even got the Georgia port in there.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yep. There's a very young Adrian and John Palmer. Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that.
Wow. It's the Beardless Palmer.
Wait, who's the long-haired dude right there?
Who's the Lego Jesus?
I do not recall. There's Joe Menno over
I was
there.
going to say Joe Menno in the background there.
Who's Joe Menno? Should I know who Joe Menno?
Brick Journal Joe Mino.
Brick Journal Joe.
Oh, okay.
Brick Journal Joe.
Well, that's my affectionate name for him. I mean, I haven't called him that in person.
Scott right there.
Oh, the Schleem shirt.
Here's Hafner right here.
Oh yeah. You know what? Will that pops on here on occasion. I have found his sister on the TikTok. She's very popular at doing really oddball things.
It's a fine line when you're talking about a dude's sister.
Yeah,
I know you guys throw mom jokes around all the time, but sister jokes, that's
I'm not joking. She's pretty cool. But she definitely could be like my kid. She's young. Not young, but she's 20, 25, something like that.
Hey, here's the sig fig. Look at that. There's a Giddens sig fig right there.
There it is, right there.
There's Fazoon over here.
I had 3 personas. Oh, there's a sheep. I remember the sheep.
Yeah,
Brett Hoopla. What's going on, Brett Hoopla? Welcome to
old guys.
Whoop.
Yeah, a lot of people trade sig figs nowadays. That's a tradition. But what we used to do, like if Mark would go to Seattle or he lived in Seattle or whatever, we would ship our sig figs and then they would be standing on a display, so we could all be quote unquote hanging out together. So
my problem is that my sig fig has the is he licking that?
Yeah, that's Keith Goldman with his one of his big spaceships.
He liked to lick things.
Duly noted. But the problem with my sig fig is that I've got the blue short sleeves.
Mark Newman.
And those aren't cheap. So it's kind of weird for me to trade a sig fig.
There's Joe.
Joe. I wonder what Mark Newman. I haven't heard from Mark Newman in a while.
Look at the baby.
Holy cow, look at the hair.
Whoa. He had hair?
He did.
Yes, this is the baby Ryan. This was his first bust.
He still has the same cheeks though. Look at his little chubby cheeks.
He looks a little bit like an adolescent or like a little older adolescent Herman Munster. Is that just me?
I can see that.
But yeah, that was Ryan. That was the beginning of his Lego journey. That was his very first fest that he went to.
Aww.
Brucey.
Yep, Bruce. If you have ever built a Lowell sphere, that is the inventor of the Lowell sphere. Right there.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. There's Adrian the freak.
So I think it was Brickenizer said it earlier. Well, maybe it was Seth who said it's dirty old gray bricks, and I feel called out a little bit, but at the same time, it does fit.
It's true.
We have Gail or Adrian on.
That's really cool.
That's
yeah. This is Mark Rideout, who is a Seattle guy. He didn't really do a whole lot of online stuff, but that was his stuff that he built. Built his own hangar, and he
look how small his arm looks next to that design.
Yeah, that's a good size thing there.
Is it larger? Is it bigger than a baby's arm?
Yeah, he is adult size.
Dirty old bricks.
Dirty old bricks. Oh, look at that roller coaster.
Yeah.
With the old track.
Roller coaster easy too.
Yep. This is Lego archaeology, as Brahm said in the chat.
Yes.
I'm making fun of how people look, but I'm just really glad that there are no pictures of me from 20 years ago.
Ryan was
red carnage.
Yeah, this was a cool coaster. I mean, it went around and it was pretty cool.
This is before Coaster Park. So, Christina.
Is that the myth, the legend, Christina?
Yes, it is.
Brick Fair or Brick Fest?
Yep. There's a few photos of moon-based stuff. Ashley Glennon, who some of you might recall from Lugnet days.
Oh yeah, I wonder where he is nowadays.
I think he's still out in Seattle. There's the Reverend.
Oh yeah,
that's some red hair.
So yeah, that was the moon-based layout.
Look at that,
pretty good size. All this blue back here, that was the space blue ribbon module that Palmer built.
Oh, by the way, I need to twist your arm and get me a good PNG of the space blue ribbon logo so I can do some
the shuttle. That's the actual shuttle that I gave you a couple weeks ago, sitting on the module.
And I haven't showed it off to the rest of the group here, but yes, here I do have Chris's original or Mark's original shuttle with the wings.
Now you're doing it. You're confusing us.
I know. At this point in time, is it really even worth bringing it up? The fact that I confused the two of you, but I do need to twist your arm because I want to replace and I want to do water decals. So can I get the actual image?
Well, yeah, I can send you the graphic and stuff, but that's authentic Portland rain on that sticker there.
So this piece will stay the way it is, but I want to do a second version that's a little more, maybe a little updated with some clean bricks and actually do water decals for it. So if you would be so kind, that would be appreciated.
Okay. Well, I just wanted you to know that
is authentic.
That's authentic Portland rain from that fest that messed up that sticker there. Because it was printed on an inkjet or something.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, that's my whole thought. Is like I want to do it with. I got some water decals I've done before, and I'm like, and it works really great. So I've got the pieces for it. I'm ready to rock and roll with it.
Right. Will Hafner, we uttered his name, and he appeared in the chat. How you doing, Will? Good to see you, buddy.
What's going on here? Oh, it's Palmer talking to Larry.
Larry
Pinyachik.
It was so amazing later on. Larry's son, and gosh, I can't think of his name right now. Larry was the big train guy. He would always holler train back at us when we'd say space those days. And then his son started coming to, as his son got older, was it Will? Maybe his name was, I can't remember. He started building space, and it was awesome.
This is
That's a really big watermelon behind you.
Okay, so this is the big event. This was the first Star Destroyer.
And they're going to drop it, aren't they?
Yes, this was the competition to build the Star Destroyer, the speed build.
Yeah.
Yep.
And afterwards, told us he has been in multiples of those speed builds.
Yeah, afterward, it was decided that we would chuck the Star Destroyer. Well, no, I wasn't chucking it, but as you can see, there's Gary and Scott and a kid and some other people. It was to toss it just for yay explosions. And there were people online who were very angry that happened.
People get
mad that we could throw Lego and how dare you, and it was pretty fun.
Go scream at a cloud.
There it is. It's in midair right there.
Oh, that's an action shot.
That like hurts me seeing that because it was so much work to put together.
That's the slow motion. No.
Weak.
So after that thing hit the ground, how many parts actually busted versus came apart?
Well, there you go.
Well, but see, when it was hitting carpet. It's hitting carpet.
But that's like convention center floor concrete.
Yeah, but carpet's still a better cushion than just straight concrete with maybe a sheet over it. Because that's what Brick Snaps does. He will toss an entire mock off of a table and just watch it across the concrete floor. So I still marvel at the fact that he doesn't wind up with tons of broken pieces in there.
Especially with the brown bricks he uses, those.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, because when he did that indoor mock with all those brown bricks, you know that those things aren't shattered.
The Gary, the legend.
There he is.
Yep.
Every time I see when I see Bruce Lowell, though, I just still think of whatever Brickfest, probably 04, and I mean. All the bigwigs from Lego are there, and he walks up on stage with a Mega Block shirt.
This is when we gave Keith the Brammy.
Yeah, see, he liked to kiss and lick things.
But this was the Brammy award that Palmer came up with, and we put Brahm's head on it right here.
Is that what Brahm looks like?
Yeah, that's what he looked.
That was a young Brahm, but yeah, still
a very young Brahm. But we intentionally mispronounced his name as the Brammy. So.
Yes.
Oh, look at Brahm's last comment.
Oh,
dude.
Yeah. Pour one out for him, Chris. Pour one out for him. You got it?
I ain't got anything to pour.
I thought you had a cup of bricks just to pour just on. You need to add that to your repertoire of things to have on hand.
There we go.
Yeah. Except for to make it more show appeal, you have to have the bag lower so we can't see it.
I know. I didn't want to pick those off the floor.
So I feel I know we've just been kind of yammering here as we normally do, because really, I mean, let's talk about the origin of this, which is no surprise to anybody. We're all in the same lug, and we would sit on a Saturday afternoon when COVID started, because actually it was Chris. I mean, even though I'm the ambassador, it was Chris was like, "Hey, it's 2:30 or 1:30 on a Saturday. Let's get online and yammer about your Lego." And it just kind of started happening. And I think early COVID, we had more and more people show up. Oh, blue hands, sing to me. And a
dog in each hand. Look at that.
We call that double fisted, which if you watch Silicon Valley is completely different terminology.
I don't know.
But so anyway, so we sat there and we were yammering, and Chris is like, people would probably watch this if we were to do this. And so here we are a year later. And we thank every one of you who subscribed and or come and hang out with us and give us grief and laugh at our mild antics with blue hands and floppy rovers. And
you're not really painting a really good picture.
And if I happen to utter, and I have a really good
double
reason to say, if I happen to have a really good reason that I say I need to reach around and grab something, and that it's okay.
That particular joke has been in the Lego community for a very long time because it was I believe it was Tony Hafner asking John Palmer to hand him something across the moon base layout. And he was like, "Hey, John, can you reach?" And you kind of start to see him smile a little. And he's like, "Can you reach around my rocket and grab that for me?"
Will, don't listen. Don't listen, Will. Will, stop listening.
Oh, that's good stuff. But you know what?
Will was in a stroller sitting.
And that's why Will turned out the way he did.
Yeah. What's
Scarred for life.
Something by proximity. Influenced by proximity, maybe that's what it is. Something like that.
Contaminated.
Brickanizer, I don't have any control over this channel, obviously, but
so you know what? It's funny. We may have to start a second lug and make it the Old Gray Brick online lug, where regardless of whether we actually have official meetings or maybe it's Mondays and Thursdays are our official meetings, because there are people who would like to be a part of. I mean, I've gotten requests to be part of Peach Lug. I'm like, it's a Georgia thing. I mean, yeah, we got some people from Florida who are basically like kissing cousins, and same thing with Alabama, no pun intended. And
that's just normal.
That's just Southern thing. But I feel bad. It's like if we, because I even had a request from some guy from the UK. He's like, I love what you guys are doing with your lug. Do you mind? And I'm like, I kind of feel like I don't know it. But if we were to do a virtual lug for Old Gray Bricks, we could let anybody and everybody who wants to come and hang out with us. So maybe that's the thing we'll do.
Who said we were weird?
Hoopa.
Oh, wait. Hooper. All right, that's fine. Yeah, Hooper can say that. Yeah, I mean, I'm all for it. We could start a lug. That could be what we're announcing today. We're starting our own lug. So
Old Gray Bricks
Old Gray Bricks lug. You're not going to get anything out of it, but we might have T-shirts.
Exactly. With all the planning that went into the start of the show. We got T-shirts.
We got T-shirts. We got stickers. We're going to do our own brick. Should we talk about that?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
So for those of you in the chat and you steal our idea and get it to market first, that's fine. But anyway, so
anybody.
The idea we had was, especially since the computers came out for the shuttle, those little bitty cheese slope computers, we thought it'd be a great idea to make the classic space computer small enough to fit onto cheese slopes. So we were thinking of, and we've been talking to Eclipse Graphics and some others. Well, just Eclipse Graphics. Yeah. Would you guys be interested in something like this? Cheese computers are great for making smaller cockpits and stuff like that. So that makes me probably need a cigarette later. But anyway, that's just really, 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 I don't know what that means either. But that's really, really nice, and that would be really, really cool. So if you guys would be interested in that, we might have some sort of Kickstarter / pre-orders kind of thing coming. We've talked about it and then let it drop. So, but anyway.
And it may end just being that Chris and I just have to buckle down and just say, hey, we're going to do it and get it done. So
I told you I'm in for like 200. I would put them on Bricklink as a custom from my Bricklink store.
Can you do that though?
You can put custom things on Bricklink.
Okay, because I thought they were like, quasi anti something about that. Do they come in sand green?
Yes.
Do they make a 1x2 slope in sand green?
Oh, do you want me to go over and check?
We do. We absolutely do.
I didn't want to know. I mean,
so there's a good question from Brickanizer. Do we consider OGB a space channel? I would say not necessarily, but we are space guys, except for Matthew, who is a town city modular person, whatever you call that.
Except for all the spaceships in my room.
Well, but that's Star Wars.
Yes.
I mean, that's as close to space as we get some days. I mean, I've made some town stuff. So,
You admit that freely.
Well, I mean, it's Lego. Everybody's town once in a while. By the way, that was a Tropic Thunder reference for those of you who are paying attention.
Never go full space.
Never go full never go full town. Never go full town.
Okay.
Are there are 1x2s? Okay.
Yes, there are.
I don't know. Maybe if we do it as a kick, because I mean, we joked about.
You said doo.
Yes. Not only are we space centric, we are also child centric. If I don't know, was Will referring to Matthew being the most normal here? It's a con. That's a catfish right there.
Oh my!
If we were to do like a Kickstarter, for some bricks, I would definitely say that the sand green would be like if we reached a certain number, if we sold out of the first run and we did a second run, boom, we do sand green for the second run.
But and truthfully, sand green computers. I mean, how many sand green spaceships are out there? Let's be honest.
Actually, there's a lot more out there than you think.
There needs to be more.
Exactly.
Fair enough.
Exactly.
There
I
were
defer to your knowledge.
back around the time that that all the sand green parts came out. There were many sand green spaceships.
Yeah, they were.
See,
And I invented a sub theme called the Jade Empire, and it was sand green was one of the colors. It was
Really?
modern day China as a space.
Are there
you
pictures?
have now piqued Matthew's interest.
I want to see the Jade Empire now.
I think-
Was Mara
I think-
Jade part of this?
I think there was like 2 or 3 people who made mocks for it, but look and see if I can find it.
So it's not as cool as the.
Those were sort of offshoots of, like, Chris had his pre-classic space stuff, and then I had my evil skull stuff, and then we sort of mixed in a little kind of like, what do we call it? We called the Eastern Bloc was the quasi-Soviet whatever,
Yes.
and then the Jade Empire, and we got a small Paul.
Small Paul has appeared.
The small Paul
What
appearance
are you
for the evening.
doing?
And a
Hopefully
dog.
nobody had their volume turned all the way up.
Sorry about your ears.
For those on headphones, we're sorry.
How's the bed? How's the bed, Paul?
Good.
Did you run up and jump up on and down on it when Dad was on his show?
No.
It's not actually a new bed. It's just a headboard that goes, but it's got shelves. So we put all of his Pokemon plushies and some of his books on it.
Doggy.
So my sister has her first kid, and I don't know, he's like 6, 7, and we're visiting, and we're like in the living room watching a movie or something, and he's telling me about something, and he's like, my sister, his mom's like, why don't you run upstairs and get that? And I yell, as he leaves the room, I yell, watch out for the monster under the bed. My sister's like, don't do that. He actually thinks there's a monster. I was like, oh, really? She's like, no, I need him to go to bed tonight. Don't do that.
Isn't that what uncles are for?
Right.
Absolutely.
So Brahm just dropped a link in the chat there for Paul's Mako spaceship. It looks like a space sharky looking spaceship. It's very cool.
Hang on, I gotta pull this up.
Go ahead and share screen if you're
Yep.
getting it going there.
Well, I'm shared, but unfortunately, let's see if I can zoom. There's not a whole lot of zoom to it, but let me actually, yeah. Hang on.
I remember that. That's really good. But here, I'm going to show
Ooh.
you the first one. I have the first Jade Empire ship here. Hang on. Share the screen. Share screen.
Woo! I dig it.
Oh, wow.
I like it.
Yeah, it's really good.
Unable ads. I guess I should upgrade.
Nice. Don't give me copyright strike. Yeah, it's really cool.
I like those jaunty antennas.
I need to do more antennas on my ships. I see Chris do it, and I don't want to be called out as a Chris clone or something like that. But if you got those whip antennas on your ship, you're doing something right. So I like it.
Let's see. The first Jade Empire ship here it is. That's it. Just a
That thing that Dana just said, I don't want to be called a Chris clone. This is exactly why space is a bit off-putting, because everybody's done all the cool stuff already. It's kind of like, well, if I do that, it's going to look like this. If I do this, it's going to look like this other thing.
You know, it's funny you say that. Well, let's first talk about the Jade Empire first,
Okay.
and then we'll come back to the clone thing.
let's
Yeah,
see.
we do
There's
already have
the-
Chris clone, by the way, because I constantly called them the same names all the time.
There's
Everyone.
the minifigs I made for them.
That's
back.
racist.
Is that Ming the Merciless there?
Yes, it is. Well, that was the Lego figs, but look, I don't know if you can see the notes as I highlight them, but everybody's highlighting the.
What? No pants? Are those assless chaps he's wearing?
Something, yeah. So
So at the time, you have to recall that the only figures at the time were the ninja figures.
So
That-
that's what you got.
Ninjas don't wear pants, do they?
There was no Ninjago or any of that. It was all just the ninja figures from the Ninja series.
So to circle back on a comment I was making, so there's a guy I follow on Instagram. C3 bricks, I think is what it is. I could be doing it wrong. My memory is horrible. But he's been doing.
Time out. I love Will, but can we ban him? I mean, is it possible?
I think there is a block option. I think there might be. But anyway, so this guy has been doing these ships, and he's got a lot of snot work on the cockpit and everything, and weird little fin things that come out of the back, and it's kind of like his base build, and then he does it in different colors, and then he'll change the configuration and they're really well done. I mean, you can tell he's put some time into that original base build and just evolves off of that and works off of it. And I think it looks fantastic. And I clicked on something today and I saw where he had like instructions for like $5 for one of them. And I'm like, done. I want this. Just because I wanted to see how he did that so that I could take a spin and maybe either do a classic space version of it or something different, just to kind of play with it and find out how he built it. And that's kind of been like a new thing. I've been buying little sets off of either Rebrickable or somebody's page. I had a blast taking Mark's Space Blue Ribbon ship apart to make it to make it in studio, just to see how he built it.
Don't let Mark know.
Well, no, I mean, I put it back together.
It's not complicated.
No, it's not. But I mean,
rearranged it though. It's not an original condition ever.
Right.
Well, I'm sure that it has probably fallen apart at one point in time or another and had to be put back together. So I'm still pretty good.
Portland cried on it, and you took it apart.
Its original collector's value has been destroyed.
I poured out some bricks as I did it just for sanity's sake. But
okay, well, that's
but to the point being is that because there was a couple points in time I'm like, why did Mark do this? But I'm like, oh, because these other parts didn't exist at that time. And that's why he had to do this. And there's a couple of spots where he's got the engines hooked in the back. And because there were certain pieces that didn't exist, that was the only way he could get them to fit. And I was like, but at the same time, I learned something that I wouldn't have known had I not taken it apart and seen how it was built. And so I'm becoming more curious of getting people's mocks that they've done good instructions for to see what did they do. And, is there something that, I didn't know, or maybe it could be done better, or just to spark some interest on how to do something different. And so that's been kind of a new kick thing that I want to do lately. Building other people's sets and then maybe doing something different. Because like I was telling Mark, I need the graphics to do the pieces because I want to do kind of a quasi newer version of it and homage, but at the same time, using pieces that weren't available at that time, because it's not fair to say it would be better because when Mark built it, he didn't have those pieces.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. The new pieces let you do cooler things that you couldn't do very easily in the past. So
well, and that's a plus and a minus at the same time, because I will always go back to, that guy when you guys were showing that Millennium Falcon. Doing what he did with the pieces that were available at that time is far more impressive than somebody taking today and doing something because they have advantage of pieces that didn't exist then.
True.
So it's also far more impressive than the Weirdo Dish official model that had already been out, the first Millennium Falcon, which was so well. It is like I would have one on my shelf if I still had it together because it's so goofy. So
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that's another thing about one of the things about getting old and in the Lego hobby is when I see a piece, I'm like, or no, back in the day, you're like, man, if I had a bracket that would just be one instead of two, and now that I got a stack of them, I'm like, what did I want those for? I can't remember. So I don't. They're just sitting there.
So are you saying you're getting Alzheimer's? Is that what it is?
What we're talking?
Or you're getting 50? Or you're getting 50 something? Maybe that's what it is.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, but speaking of new parts or part wish, because I mean
part envy.
Well, no, not part envy, but the one by one bracket, up or down, hands down, new favorite piece that they've done. But I saw something, and I don't know if it was on Brick Elementary or something like that. They were doing something about. They had a list of parts that they wished that Lego made. Like, for example, an inverted cheese slope, a 1x1 inverted cheese slope, I would give the teeth that I have remaining for that. I will go, take a
I would
tooth out.
give Chris's other testicle.
I was about to say, I've already given it. I gave it at the
Chris
office. Thank you very much.
But I had another part that doesn't exist that I really would like is a 1x1 Technic brick with studs on the other sides.
You mean top and bottom?
No. So if you've got a 1x1 Technic brick, so it's got a hole through the middle, the other sides that are normally solid, I want studs on the side of it.
Oh, I see.
Because I've run into a couple of different, and I do build smaller mocks in comparison to, like, say, Chris and Mark, who build big mocks. And I find that I'm always trying to figure out how can I make something smaller and compact and fit things together using lesser pieces, because that's what I've got on hand. And that is a piece that I think would solve so many problems that I run into. I think it'd be a great smaller mech building piece. So stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that's a weird tangent that I've ran off on.
No, I think, for all of the people at Lego corporate headquarters that are watching us right now, it's good for us to go over the parts that we want.
I agree. Absolutely.
By the truckload. So a cavalcade.
What? It's probably 6 hours time difference. So, it's only 3 a.m. Or 1 a.m. in Denmark.
Well, who's the customer or the who did Kevin used to report to?
Tormod.
Yes. I recently read an article or saw an article that was an interview of Tormod talking about how they're embracing the AFOL community and they're concerned about their input. And I'm like, I think that's not what you really think.
Well, does he not deal with the land? Is he not Tormod not a part of that?
He may be over it. I mean, I think all the people who are on the land probably report to him, or not necessarily directly, but to somebody who does report to him. But just the feel that I got from listening to Forever Sorting with Kevin A. Hinkle, I just don't really think that Tormod is really, really, really concerned with what the four of us think, or anyone like us. So,
well, Tormod is the one who we reported to doing the set, and let's just say that it was not the most well-oiled machine, although they were making it up as they went along.
Understandable.
But to us, he was very nice. He was nothing more than kind. But when it came to really knowing what this was going and what was happening and stuff like that,
yeah,
they were just kind of shooting. They were just kind of shooting in the dark, not knowing where things were going to land. So,
Will just brought up how about mix of joints in more colors? I think that goes against the Technic rule of, like, Technic pieces only come in certain colors and certain things. And I wonder if the ball joints fall under that, because I don't know if the ball joints are technically part of system. They may be part of Technic. I don't know.
You think they're part of system? I mean, part of Technic? They got to be system.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Because Mixels were, so.
Well, just because Mixels were system-esque doesn't mean that the Technic pieces involved weren't Technic.
Rules were made to be broken, Dana.
I know that. I break them all the time. Shh. I didn't say that out loud. I retract that statement.
Yeah, Tormod, you didn't mean that.
Technic does come in more colors recently, and I know that was like a big deal when they were doing the botanical sets that they got some Technic pieces in different colors. The fact that we have a Technic pin in yellow now is like freaky weird.
Well, back in my day, all Technic pins, no matter what, were black, and you couldn't tell them part from part. In fact, the mobile rocket launcher had the half pin, half axles, and they were black, and you would lose those jokers in a minute. So,
and those bad boys are rare and pricey.
Yes, they are. Yeah, in fact, when you see one of those, I always look to see what color, if the axles are correct or not.
Oh, absolutely, you gotta. Of course, there's also the purist in me who wants to make sure that the yellow 1x2s are the fingered ones the two-fingered ones versus the three-fingered ones.
Well, there's two versions of that, right?
Right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
I've got the 3 connected to 2, but then there was the wide in the anyway.
which is the ones that I've got. Which those at one point in time were going for like $20 a pop. So, yeah, they were expensive at one point in time.
How many fingers?
Not going there.
Headlessness.
Not going there.
Where are we going?
We're not going. We're not going.
Innuendo Town?
We hit a pause. We're not dead air, but we're definitely in a awkward, uncomfortable.
Matthew has the free candy van, and he's holding the door open, and we're like, no, thank you.
I have a confession to make that
I'm lactose intolerant.
I overdosed before tonight's show, and I had 3 Mountain Dews because I have a 9:40 hockey game, so I might as well be wired as all get out. So I need all the sugar and caffeine I can get for this 50-year-old man to skate around an ice rink for 20-year-olds.
You're gonna have to redose
I want to see you hit the ice all.
and then have like a sugar crash in about like the second period.
Yes. Yeah.
He's laid out center ice on his back, going, "Oh, somebody help me!"
It's only been 14 months since I skated on in a hockey gear, so we'll see how this goes. Probably not well. But.
Can you get film? Can we see this? I want to.
Wait,
I'll
where
ask
are you?
Castle.
Where are you skating tonight?
Tonight is center ice in Roswell, Georgia, and my friend will be there. I can ask him to take some like video footage in the third period when I'm really tired.
Oh, that's a must.
Yes.
Actually, we need like a progression. We need a little bit in the first period, a little bit in the second, a little bit in the third, so we can view this and judge your energy level for the 50-year-old on skates.
Oh, so this is definitely a tangent, but so when we have the draft, there's always players that because they played for 20 years. And then there's players that you kind of know, and then there's people you've never heard of before who signed up, and we know nothing about them except their age. So, when in doubt, I try to draft people who are younger because they'll probably get better. Anyway, so I get a message from one of my newbies, and he says, "Call me." So I'm like, okay. So I call him, and he's like, other than ice skates, what am I going to need? Well,
Just tell him nothing. Come on with your ice skates.
A stick, some gloves, a helmet, shoulder pads, pants, socks, shin guards, elbow pads.
No.
There.
What are your ice skates and some shorts?
And a supporter and a cup. That kind of helps. So I sent him a shopping list, and it's going to be interesting the first shift of the game. So
Did he say, "Can I get these at Walmart"?
he did say, "I'm on my way to the hockey store," which is how he referred to it. So he did buy. I was like, I'm thinking, I'm in my head going cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. I'm calculating what all these pieces of gear are going to cost brand new. And I'm just like, I've got some old shin pads I could loan you. I felt bad because you're talking like $1,000 of equipment. Well, maybe not with the skates, but yeah.
A big roll of bubble wrap and some duct tape.
Good to go.
Yeah, all fine. You're fine now.
So at least I'll be better than one person.
Yeah, but it definitely puts you in a nurturing mode, doesn't it?
It does.
Bringing him under your wing, showing him the way.
It's funny because as captain, I set up the lines and who's playing with who, and I usually have a crappy first game because so much of my attention is focused on who is playing well with whom and should I change up who's playing with whom, and then I forget that I should be focused on the game and not like how my teammates are playing or not playing well to get there. So usually game 2, I have a much better game because I'm like, okay, I at least know who's going to play with whom. Anyways, this is not the hockey channel, but I mean,
Yeah, it's okay. All right.
Well, it again comes back to, are we a space-centric channel or not?
we could throw in some, hockey prospect segment. I could do the hot prospect of the week.
I'm going to say no.
There's a lot of Red Wings fans with no content over the summer, so we could probably bump our viewership if we threw in like the Red Wings prospect of the week.
Well, I would assume that any hockey fan who has an off season probably goes outdoors. I don't know.
You know what? We can take that idea and put a pin in it and come back to it later.
We're not going to come back to it.
Oh, me. Well, you know what? We were going to do about an hour, and we're about to hit an hour.
We are about an hour. Look, I started building. That's why we're at an hour, because I started building.
Yeah, right. I mean, I've been over here doodling and building and everything.
We're
This is
repairing.
if you were to come into our quote unquote weekly lug meeting, this is pretty much it. We just shoot the breeze, talk about stuff and everything, and that's where Old Gray Bricks got started. And 300 and something, almost 300 viewers, not quite yet. Later,
if you
like Tricky Bricks, where they grew from like nobody to they have like super long. Hang on, I've got a.
This is a long. Go ahead and throw it up just so we can all read it.
Well, I'm making sure I can.
Okay.
I don't know who Super Curly One is, and I'm not sure that it's from Twitch. So,
Well, it's complimentary, so
it is complimentary. Even though it throws a beauty in there at the end, it's still good. It's still good content.
it covered up Matt. So that's.
It's a twofer.
You're all awesome.
It's a twofer.
She's have lighter uniform. You're saying keep playing broskies. You put the key in hockey. Hey, well, they're listening. So, well, that's very kind. Thank you very much. Our one Twitch reviewer of the night, and I really appreciate that. That's super awesome. But you know what? This is what this is. This is just hanging out with bros. And, if anything happened with COVID, we actually started doing this. And we actually talked to each other, gotten close to be better buddies because of it. So that's a good thing. And excited to get together and show our faces without masks soon. And we will continue doing Old Gray Bricks for a long, long time. All right. Hey, guys, y'all have a good night. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for tuning in. And we will see y'all on Mondays at 7 and Thursdays at 7. Come and join us. Have a great night. Be kind to your neighbors. Wear a mask if you hadn't had your shots. And for crying out loud, go get your shot.
Go get some rabbits.